Salutations, my children! We have seen Junji Ito as an absolute master of horror when he creates his own original stories. But what happens when he works with a classic chiller? Behold! Junji Ito's Frankenstein. The hardcover collection features other stories besides his version of Frankenstein, but for our purposes we'll focus only on his recounting of the tale. For the most part, especially for the first 3/4 of it, it follows very closely to the book, my children. A sea captain discovers the near-dead Victor Frankenstein near the North Pole, seeking out fame and notoriety for himself. A cause that Frankenstein sympathizes and fears given his own history. He recounts his life to the captain, how at a young age he was enamored with natural sciences and tales of alchemy. While his dreams would have to be discarded for more practical investments of his time, upon heading to university, he met a professor who shared in his old dreams of fanciful alchemical reactions of a body's natural electricity, and plants the seeds in Victor's head to step into the territory of a god. I'd imagine that would be Echidna, the Greek mother of monsters in their mythology. What? I read other things than just horror stuff. All the stuff I read is related to horror. And thus, for his independent research, he starts digging up bodies at a local cemetery, somehow discovering the secret of life itself. And say, you know the old saying about how knowledge is knowing that Frankenstein is not the monster, wisdom is knowing that Frankenstein is the monster? Well, this old guard at the cemetery would agree, spotting Victor covered in blood and with deathly eyes as he collects some body parts and proclaims him to be some kind of monster. But now for the real monster, 8 feet tall for convenience sake, and a handmade brain. Victor has an internal debate about the thing he's made. Is it an ideal human being? Yes? No? Well, a prototype is often oversized. But no, this is not a prototype. It is the ultimate creation. It is beautiful. No, it is a twisted lump of flesh. Well, Frankenstein makes up his mind on which it is when the creature comes to life, the bandages falling from its face and revealing that. It is what makes Junji Ito so perfect for this story, my children. So many movies, classic as they are, cannot truly make the monster look like anything more than a slightly lumpier person with stitches. But Junji Ito, he can create a monster. Victor passes out, his friend Henry having arrived to come to the same university and having found him. The monster is long gone, and Frankenstein believes it must have died. He recovers, but must return home when he gets news that his younger brother has been murdered. The police have arrested their housemaid, Justine, based on circumstantial evidence. But after her execution, Frankenstein sees the truth. It was his own creation that was responsible for this. He hears the monster's tale as it chows down on some grizzly bear. Meh, I prefer polar bears myself. Grizzly is a bit too gamey. After he had fled from Frankenstein's lab, the monster was ostracized and feared wherever he went due to his hideous visage. Unlike the tale of old, he discovered the family with their blind old man, learning language and social skills from them, and was forced to flee from the compassionate family when they rejected him upon sight. He discovered Victor's younger brother and Justine, enraged by their happy countenance, strangled the young boy to death and framed Justine for it. The monster, however, would like to be saved from his hellish hatred of humanity. He wants Victor to make for him another as deformed and horrible as himself, so that she would not deny him. And once again the artwork makes it clear how frightening this being truly is, as he makes it clear that if Frankenstein refuses, he will cause pain and destruction, desolate Victor's heart so much that he'll curse the hour of his birth. And thus Victor agrees, setting off for England to try to make this monstrous mate. Once more, he scours graveyard to make this creature, a woman stitched together from many women. And in his dreams, he sees Justine and begs for her forgiveness for having caused this horror. And soon Henry discovers what it is that Victor is doing, where we truly break away from the book. Victor, ashamed of himself, asks Henry to turn him into the police for the blasphemy he has committed. But Henry is a poet and a good friend, and knows what the monster would do if Victor fails in his task. And thus the two vow to complete the mission, hopefully to finally be free of the monster forever. But they run into a complication. They cannot find a suitable head for their bride of the monster. The ones they find are too old or too decayed for the task. And so the monster himself steps in to assist with the special head he has retrieved. Justine's. Victor is once more aghast and wants to forego using the head, but Henry thinks this might be a way to atone, to grant Justine new life. Even though, as Victor points out, he still has to construct for her a new brain as he had for the monster. He vows to make this one pure, and they shall raise her up to be as sweet and kind as Justine. Although she's going to have to get used to ducking in order to get through most doorways. And thus their bride is made and awakens. They speak with her, show her her own face, and everything seems fine as she is so very calm during this whole process. But as Frankenstein removes her bandages, she grabs a pair of scissors and stabs him in the arm. She screams as she moves, whether due to knowledge of what she is, confusion at the situation, or just that anything around her is uncertain, though she's not too terribly happy to see the monster either, as he talks about living with her in harmony. She attacks the monster with the scissors, and the monster is forced to kill her, dismembering her form. The monster, angry at this whole thing, blames Frankenstein, believes that he attempted to make something that would be his doom, and vows to gain revenge upon him. The monster kills Henry, Victor's father, his would-be bride Elizabeth, and Victor goes on his hunt for the monster, bringing them to the North Pole. He wants to pursue the monster to the ends of the earth, but the sea captain must turn the ship around to spare his crew. And as Victor dies, the monster watches the ship and roars, sensing the death of his creator, realizing there is now no one, and he is alone, declaring that his suffering shall end soon amidst the snowstorm he stands in. Junji Ito's Frankenstein is glorious, with twists in the tale that would probably have made Shelley proud. Right before she looked away because of how frightening the artwork is.
Phew. You call this stuff scary? Please. Now we're talking.